Hi, everyone. It's Grace Day. I'm in Stetson right now. We're not in my office this week. Welcome to First Year Friday. I'm excited that this week we're going to have a mock honor council hearing, and we're just going to jump straight into it. So we're going to follow you from the beginning of the process to the end of the process. And if you have any questions, shoot them down into the chat, and at the end, we'll have a big question and answer session. We'll also answer your questions as they come through. So without further ado, let's get started.
Hello, Ms. Topp. My name is Gabrielle D'Alessandro. I'm the Chief Justice of the Honor Council, and I will be presiding over today's hearing. I just wanted to kind of go over the process of the hearing today, make sure you didn't have any questions, and also just make sure that you understand your rights today. So how it'll work, I'm going to go back into the hearing room, make sure all the justices are ready for you, and then I'll bring you back into the room when we're done. I will then, when I bring you in, we will start the hearing. I will start by going over just an overview of the case from the investigating justice, and then we will do a professor's statement. The professor is not attending, so the investigating justice will read a statement in their place. We'll ask the investigating justice for any questions they might have regarding the professor's statement, and then after that, we will go to you. You'll have the right to do your statement after I give some information from you. I'll just ask your student ID. Don't worry about memorizing everything you need to know. I will be saying it from a script. And then once you're done with that, you can give your statement, say anything you think is relevant. You have the right to full free speech, say anything you want. You also have the right to silence if you're not comfortable answering a question we may ask. You do have that right, and we won't hold that in judgment against you. So after that, we'll go into closing. If you also have a closing statement you wish to give at that time, you have that right then too. If you don't have anything you want to say, that's fine. Some students don't feel like there's a need for it because everything's been said. That's totally cool. Don't worry about it. And then after that, we will go into deliberation. During deliberation, I ask that you come back out into the hall and just wait out here. It'll take about 10 to 15 minutes because we have to do paperwork, regardless of whether you're found responsible or not. And then once we're done with that, I'll call you back into the room. You'll get your decision. If you're found responsible, the sanction we found most appropriate for you at that time. So that's kind of how it'll go. After that, if you have any questions, you can ask them, and then you'll be dismissed for the morning. So do you have any questions regarding that procedure at all?
Yes, will I get to know the justices who are hearing the case against me?
Yes, so that's another right you have. So I'll go ahead and read to you their names. We have Emma Gillum, we have Arthi Shankar, and then we have another student, Yarva Masha. And if you know any of those students you think they may be, you're uncomfortable with them hearing your case, then you can go ahead and let me know, and I'll ask for them to be removed. If you don't know them, that's cool too. I just like to let you know that, right? So those all sound good to you?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So if you don't have any other questions, that is all I have for you. And then we'll just go into the hearing room, and I'll let you know when we're ready for you, okay?
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. So we're going to go ahead and begin. So this is case number 1 for the fall semester 2020. At this time, the investigating justice will give an overview of the case.
This is an accusation of cheating in Professor ARC's First Year Friday 101 class for the fall semester of 2020.
At this time, I would normally swear in the professor. However, given their absence, the investigating justice will read a statement in their place.
When administering the first exam of the semester, I noticed Tot had her phone on her desk. When approaching her, I noticed the screen turned black. I had her turn on the screen, where she had the Quizlet flashcards for the course pulled up, particularly the slides relevant to Chapter 1 material of the exam. I then told the student that I would be reporting her to the Honor Council.
Are there any questions for the investigating justice regarding the professor's statement at this time? Okay. Given none, at this time we'll move on to the student. Ms. Tot, Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Have you been informed of all of your rights by an honor council justice?
Yes.
You've been charged with cheating. How do you plead?
Not responsible.
Please state your name, student ID, class, and major for the record.
My name is Mercer Tot. My student ID is 1833, and my major is Bear Studies.
Let me remind you that perjury or willful submission of false evidence is a violation of the honor code. With that in mind, please give your opening statement.
Yes, so I was studying before the exam. I didn't use any material during the class. We were told to turn in the exam on Canvas because we're not supposed to be exchanging papers right now due to COVID. So at the end of the class, the professor came over to me and he saw my phone. He asked me to turn it on, and it had Quizlet on it because I was using that to study before class. And then the professor told me that I would be reported to the honor council. But like I said, I didn't use Quizlet during the test.
Does that conclude your statement?
Yes.
At this time, questioning is open to the investigating justice.
Miss Tot, how did you study for your
This exam, I had a study group with some other people in my class. We all made a Quizlet together, and we studied that before the class using material from the textbook, vocab words, things like that.
And Miss Tot, were you aware of the phone policy and the honor code prior to the situation?
I'm still not 100% sure what the issue was. My phone was turned off, so I don't really understand why it was a problem that I had my phone on me.
Thank you. At this time, questioning is open to the rest of the council.
Miss Todd, did you speak to the professor at any point regarding the instructions about the phone policy?
No, I thought I understood it pretty well. I mean, like I said, I wasn't looking at Quizlet, so I didn't really think I needed to talk to my professor because it seemed pretty straightforward to me.
And Miss Todd, can you estimate how much you think you studied for this exam?
Yes, I think I studied for about 2 hours every day the week leading up to the test.
And did you feel well prepared for the exam?
Yeah, I thought I knew what was going to be on there.
Are there any further questions for the student at this time? Yes, Dr. Black.
My understanding from the professor is that the professor claims to have seen your computer go from the Quizlet to black. How do you explain what could have happened so that the professor would have seen something like that?
Well, I think what happened was the professor saw that I had my phone out. I was using Canvas for the test. But then he saw my phone. He thought that there was an issue with me looking at Quizlet during the test because we also had our computers out to take the test. I think there's just some confusion there, but I was not looking at Quizlet during the test.
Ms. Todd, were there ever specific instructions given to the class before the test, or maybe the first week of class when you're running the syllabus regarding how you would be turning in the test exactly?
Maybe, I'm not really sure. I couldn't come to the first week of class because I was self-isolating. Sure about like the specific instructions, but I mean, in high school, my teachers always just said to put your phone away, so that's what I did. I wasn't looking at it or anything, so I was just kind of confused about why this was an issue.
Thank you. And you said you missed the first week of class. Did you meet with a professor after that first week to kind of go over what you may have missed or catch up, read the syllabus, make sure you weren't too behind?
No, I thought I understood what was going on. I mean, like I said, like in high school, I never had any issues with things like this, so I was pretty sure I knew the policy regarding everything.
Thank you. At this time, are there any other questions for the student?
Yes. Miss Todd, can you clarify where your phone exactly was during the exam?
Yeah, so I had my phone face down on my desk. I didn't look at it at all. It stayed there. But then I guess the professor saw it there and thought that that might have been a little suspicious. But like I said, I never looked at it, so I don't think it was an issue.
At this time, if there are no further questions for the student, then we will go into closing. Is there anything you'd like to add, Ms. Todd?
Yes, I just want to say thank you for your time. Like I said, I'm sure that this won't be an issue. I surely did not look at my phone during the test. So I think that we can all agree that that's not a problem.
Thank you. At this time, we'll go into deliberation. It'll take a couple minutes, and then I'll let you know when you're done and bring you back in your decision, okay?
Thank you.
Hi, Ms. Todd, we are ready. We have your decision. If you don't mind heading back into the room, sitting where you were before. This is the conclusion of case number 120. Ms. Todd, you've been found responsible of academic negligence, and your assigned sanction is a letter of censure. If you wish to appeal this sanction, you may do so by submitting an appeal in writing to the dean of your appropriate school within 4 business days. Let me remind you that all evidence seen before us today is strictly confidential, and that harassment of professors, students, or justices will further endanger your career at Mercer. Are there any questions you have for me at this time?
Yes, will this be on my permanent record?
So this will exist on a record that we have, the Mercer Honor Code. It is separate of your transcript, so it will not appear on your transcript, but it will be in the Honor Code records for you. For you.
Thank you.
Do you have any other questions?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Then you're free to go at this time, and my email will be at the bottom of the form that you receive later on.
Okay, so now you've seen the process of an honor council hearing from start to finish. So now, if you have any questions, we're going to kind of turn it into a question where you can ask the justices any questions you have about the honor code, about getting sent to honor council, what do things usually look like. Shoot them in the chat, and then we will start having a little bit of a conversation. Cool. All right.
If they don't have questions, I can make up questions.
Oh, here we go. So what was discussed during the deliberation process?
So during that time, we pretty much just go around the room and everyone speaks their opinion about whether they think the student is responsible or not, and then we decide sanctioning as well. So what we think the most appropriate, punishment is, and those can range from letter of censure to expulsion. Rarely do we expose people, so please don't stress about that. But yes, that's exactly what happened.
And will you clarify what a letter of censure is?
Yes, so a letter of censure, pretty much, it's the form of punishment that goes with an academic negligence. So academic negligence is defined as unacceptable conduct of a student during his testing situation, including tests, outside assignments, papers, homework, and lab reports. It may include the student's failure to understand the instructor's specific instructions. Plagiarism that results from academic negligence is not academic negligence. It is plagiarism and will be dealt with as such. What the letter of censure does, coupled with the academic negligence, it just means that we didn't find the behavior to rise to cheating, but in this case, they misunderstood the professor's instructions. So we found that it would be better to give a letter of censure. What a letter of censure does, it doesn't impact your grade immediately, so the student will receive the grade that they were to receive on the exam at that time. And then later on, however, if they were to be found responsible of another academic violation or another honor code violation, they would receive an increased sanction because they've been given a warning pretty much the first time.
Since this would not be on a student's transcript, who would view a student's violations?
So that's a great question. A lot of time, the people that will ask for it, as Chief Justice, I get reached out to by graduate schools if they want to know, or even students themselves that are applying to graduate schools that require them to get like a confirmation from their school's honor council just to make sure that they don't have any violations, or if they do, to send the information we have regarding that violation. And that's most of the time what we are supposed to do.
What are the most common violations the Honor Council usually sees from first-year students?
Definitely the phone policy. So our honor code is very clear in the fact that you're not supposed to have your phone on your persons or anywhere near you when you're taking a test. So if you were to have your phone in your pocket, you were to have it on your desk, you were to have it, where else could it be? Somewhere crazy you've seen.
Like underneath the chair.
Yeah, just anywhere that you could see it. you would be found responsible of an honor code violation. The reason that we did that was because years ago we would sit in deliberation, trying to decide whether we thought the student was using their phone or not. And it's just, at the end of the day, it's impossible to tell. So by implementing this part of the honor code, it doesn't leave any room for ambiguity. If your phone's on you, then it is a violation.
So since she was found responsible, what does she have to do now?
So because of her letter of censure, she doesn't have to do anything immediately. The only sanction that you would have to do something is plagiarism. If you received an academic sanction, you would have to go to the ARC and do a series of sessions with the ARC on how to avoid plagiarism. But that's the only sanction that we give that entails anything on this part of the student. However, this being said, the student hopefully has learned at this point what she should be doing in clarification, and she should avoid coming back to the honor council because she would receive a harsher sanction if she were to reappear before us.
If the student wants to dispute the council's conclusion, where should they go?
So that's another great question. So you do have the right to appeal to the dean of your business school. There's 3 grounds that you can appeal on. That's if you find that your rights have been violated, the rights are online. All students have access to those. Those are on the Honor Code's website. If you feel your rights have been violated, if you feel that the sanction was too harsh given the evidence, or you feel that, oh gosh, what's the third one? I'm blanking. Oh, there's new evidence. Sorry. There's new evidence. Sorry, guys. A little rusty. If there's new and convincing evidence that you think would change the decision of the council. And so if you find one of those 3 things are applicable to you, you would then email that to the dean of your school. So if you're engineering, Dean Lackey per se, email her, say, hi, this is my honor council case. I was found responsible. I wish to appeal it. Here are the reasons why, explain it. And then at that point, the dean would review the case and decide whether to uphold the council's decision or appeal.
So what if the student isn't aware of that part of the honor code? Are they still responsible to adhering to it?
Yes. So as hard it is to adhere it, you are a college student at this point. You're in college. You are accepted to do responsibilities. When you sign the student's rights and responsibilities when you're registering for courses each semester, you are acknowledging that you've read the honor code and that you understand it. So you're going to be held to the standard that you have read it.
And where can they find the honor code?
It's on the Mercer website. If you just type Mercer Honor Council, it's the first tab, and the entire honor system can be found easily on that page.
So what happens if a student is called before the council a second time or like even a third time?
So it depends. They could very well be called before us for a second, third time and be not responsible. But each time that you are coming back to us, you are expected to learn something. Hopefully at Mercer, the unique thing about Mercer's Honor Council is that they are educational. We do want you to learn from your mistakes, which I do really like that about our honor code. However, there comes a point where you're expected to learn from your mistakes, and sanctioning can only, get harsher from a certain point. So we don't ever want to see students back. I mean, usually we don't, which is something that's really awesome.
Looks like we have time for 1 to 2 more questions. Can a student bring a witness or someone to speak on their behalf?
Yes, that is one of your rights actually as an accused student. If you think there's a witness, there's 2 types of witnesses we have. We have a situational witness, and then we have a character witness. A situational witness is someone that you think that may have relevant information to the case that would give evidence that you're not responsible. So for example, it's a person that you sit next to every class, and you're being reported for being on your phone. It could be a person next to you that sees you and they could say, I never saw the person on their phone. So that'd be a situational witness. A character witness would be someone that maybe isn't necessarily in the class, but they're really close friends with you, or it's a professor. It just has to be a Mercer faculty or student, and they would pretty much just speak on your behalf and say, it's not likely for the student, it's not like the character for them to cheat, and they'll just speak towards your character purely.
And how does a student submit evidence to the council?
Yes, so we highly encourage that. You're your best advocate if you are if you are reported for an academic, if you are reported for a violation of the honor code, you're your best advocate. We encourage students to, we've had students submit some crazy evidence to us to try to exonify themselves, such as like cell phone records. They've reached out to
Verizon.
yeah, they reached out to Verizon and tried to give us that as evidence, and like we love that. Like if you have evidence that you're not responsible, then we highly encourage you. How it works is they're the person that's the lead on your case. They're your contact. They'll meet with you to go over the case before the hearing to kind of go over everything, the rights, to go over the evidence, and then you would just present that evidence to them, and then during the night of the hearing, they would give it to the council.
Has a student ever been asked to leave Mercer because of numerous violations?
Not in my time on the council, but I'm sure in the past. It's very rare. Like I said, Mercer is a very Dr. Black's been on the audit council for quite a time as advisors. But I will say, like I said, Mercer is very very educative, and they want you to not educated. That's not a word. I'm sorry. They want you to learn from your mistakes. So ultimately, you are given a few chances before you are asked to leave.
I'm thinking 8 years, maybe 2.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, maybe 2 and 8 years.
Yeah, I mean, in my time, I've seen 2 suspensions, and I've been on the council. This will be my third and a half year. So it's rare.
So speaking of how long you've been on council, how does a student become a part of the honor council?
Yes, I love that question. So it's great. So how you would do it is we do it in the spring because we want to make sure freshmen are. You can do it as a freshman or sophomore, but we do it for freshmen. Most of them are freshmen. We want to make sure they're adjusted on campus and make sure it's something they really want to do. Our application will come out in about January to February. It kind of depends on the year. Submit that application. Interviews are usually in March before spring break. Who knows how our semester is going to look next semester, but that will be about the general timeline. And then they'll submit the application. We do interviews if we like the application, and then you can join the council at that point. There's no requirements or anything. Just fill out an application. It requires an essay, the application, and 2 letters of recommendation. So yeah, and it's a super great experience. It's really great leadership. It's a great group. Like, we're not a bunch of like mean people, I promise. We have people in engineering, we have science majors, we have history and art majors. So we're just a very diverse group. But we have our fun, not like fun and punishing people, but we're a little family, and I love it. So everyone can speak to that. They're all nodding their heads.
What has being on honor council done for your Mercer experience?
For me, and I'll also let like one of you guys answer that too, but for me as a part of the executive board, I've been on exec now for 2 years because we have 3 executive positions. So I was also the clerk before I was the chief justice, and that's some of the leadership skills I've gained, like I could not have gained anywhere else on campus. Like, I'm dealing with faculty. I've spoken at dean's meetings. I spoke at convocation this year, which was a huge audience. It's just very professional. This Mercer's honor council is very unique that it's student led, and the only person we have is Dr. Black is our advisor. He oversees us, but we pretty much make a lot of decisions on our own. I mean, we ask for advisement from Dr. Black, obviously, and make sure we're not doing anything dumb, but it is a very responsibility, and it's taught a lot of leadership skills and really of the such. So yeah, Arthy's been on the council. This is her 3rd year, right? 3rd year. Yeah, so
yeah, I used to be very shy, and I would never speak during honor council, but then slowly it broke my shell, and now I feel a lot more comfortable to be able to talk in front of everyone, which I think is huge for me. So yeah.
And I feel like it gives you a lot of real life experience in the real world, because it is, there are student careers on the line, hearings and stuff. So it's a lot of responsibility you have to take in. But I really enjoy that responsibility, and I don't know if I would have gotten it at any other organization.
And when I tell you, like, all our justices would have nice things to say, like they do. They're all amazing. So it's awesome. Yeah.
Final question. Okay. How much do you enjoy being on honor council?
I'll just reiterate it. We all. I mean, it's hard at times. Like, I'm not saying like. I mean, especially as me, like, we're like, I wouldn't be lying, or I would be lying if I said I haven't cried a few times. You definitely have, because of that responsibility. I've made a few mistakes. Obviously, I'm sure y'all have made a few little mistakes. Like, it's a heavy process. You're making really big decisions. So it's not without heavy heart, like some things we do. But ultimately, like it is the family and the responsibility and the leadership skills, the connections you make. I'm pretty sure like every faculty member knows me at this point, which is crazy to me. But yeah, and especially as like a pre-med student, like connections for, letters of recommendations and everything. But yeah, it's just so fun all around. We have a banquet, we eat food, we do silly awards, we do serious awards. I can't even think. There's just so many things I could say. But yeah, it's so fun. But yeah.
That was all of the questions we had. If you all have any other questions, you can either shoot them to me through email, day_gc@mercer.edu, and then I can get them to the Honor Council and get you an answer. We also have a fact sheet that I will distribute to your faculty members and your PAs, who will also get it back to you. But unless you all have any last minute questions, I'm going to let you all go. It's 10:30. Enjoy your weekend. And go Bears.